Hello, it is good to see you back on the mat. Welcome back to Yoga with Paige if we have practiced together before. And if not, hello, I am Paige. And today we are flowing through a nice hip mobility and strength practice. So this focuses all on the inner and outer hips because a strong body is a healthy body. So this is perfect for you, especially if you stretch a lot or do a lot of gentle, more restorative sort of yoga, because if we overstretch but fail to strengthen, we can actually start injuring ourselves. So we want to make sure that we are adding some strength into all of our practices, or making sure that we are practicing classes like this that focus on basically all strength building. And through these dynamic exercises, you will feel a little bit of a stretch. So they kind of go hand in hand, everything is all connected. So this is great for all levels. Everybody is welcome to join, and we can get started whenever you're ready, lying on our backs. Beginning today with our hands overhead, everything extended, coming through a little opposite dead bug. So this is definitely a mind-body connection as well, just starting to warm up through the hips. So right knee comes over the hip as the left arm reaches up towards the sky. Let me send it back down, and the opposite. So take these as slow as you need. We'll take about 3 to 4 on each side. Already starting to connect to the core here. Even though we're focusing on the hips and the lower body, we will definitely be using our abdominal muscles and our upper body as well. So when you have finished those, we're going to send the legs up towards the sky, kind of like legs up the wall. And you can have your arms by the sides, maybe on the belly, by the hips. And we're just going to open the legs to the side, right to the point where it feels nice and good, and then draw them back in. So really pressing the lower back down into the mat, opening up now through the groins, giving ourselves a nice little warm up here. Working through a lot of dynamic movements today. We'll take about 8 to 10 of these. I just reached my 5th one. Really controlling on the way down and on the way up. So making sure to not move too fast. We want to prevent injury, not cause it. Beautiful. I'm taking my last one now. So returning back with the legs up in the air, planting the feet down, hip distance apart for some bridge lifts. So taking 5 of these on every exhale, press through the mat to send the hips up. Squeezing at the top. And then releasing, kind of just gently tapping the hips down. Send them back up. Finding some strength and stretch on the front, tops of the thighs. Beautiful. And releasing down all the way after your 5th one, taking the knees into the chest. Find tiny little knee circles. Just a few one way and a few the other way. And making your way up to a seat, either gently coming up or finding a little fun, a little rock and roll up here. Beautiful. Coming to the middle of the mat, Sweeping this left leg behind, finding deer pose. So this one is going to feel and look different in every body. We want both of the knees bent, and we want to kind of twist over this right leg. So we're sending the hips down. We'll probably feel a nice opening in the hips here, but if this does not feel good, we can skip this. We'll find about 1 or 2 breaths on this side just to open it up, get the feeling of it. And then carefully switch. Now we're bent over the left knee. And after we open up here, we'll be taking this as a little flow, rocking from side to side. So we can also take seated windshield wipers instead. So we can be here, or we can take the feet closer in towards the hips and kind of just move from that way. So finding what feels good to you, working with your accessibility level. Especially, this is the beginning of the practice, we might be a little tight, a little closed up. Just making sure we're finding what feels good to us. All right, and taking about 1 more breath. If we're doing a deer pose flow, we can take about 1 more on each side. And we meet in a nice tabletop. Really spreading wide between the fingers and grounding down through the tops of the feet. Taking a moment to find length in the spine, pressing away from the mat. Gripping through the fingers, grounding down through this right leg, connect to the core, and lift the left knee out to the side, trying to keep your knees straight. Extend the leg, then bend the knee and bring it back. Taking 3 of those. Moving at your own pace. Pausing me at any time if you need to. And then extending the leg out to the side once more, planting the left foot down, finding a nice wide stance. Keeping this right hand on the mat, peel the left arm up, finding a gentle little twist. Breathe in, some nice opening. And then plant that hand back, turning this right foot in towards the hips, extending the left behind, coming into a pigeon pose. Moving up to the top of the mat if you need to. Making sure we take a few breaths to really find our pigeon pose. And we're finding nice activity, strength in the hips. So we want to send the pelvis down, make sure we're square. When you feel comfortable, lift your hands up, really sink down. We can use a block if we need to underneath the legs or the hips. Inhale, raise the arms up, palms meet. Exhale, take the chest forward, trying to tap the hands down towards the mat, reaching the chest down as far as you can go, squeezing and lifting back up. Exhale to fold, inhale to lift. Beautiful, taking 5 of these. Meeting back up in your pigeon pose, planting the hands in front of the leg, tucking the back toes, and extending the right leg long, coming into a nice 3-legged dog. Reaching this right leg up, keeping the hips square, and then taking the leg out to the side and tapping by the left foot. Then reach it back out to the side and bring it behind you. So really, really working through your mobility here. Taking 5 of these. You might feel some shaking going on, completely normal and okay. Just do your best. And then bending the right leg, cross it on top of the left knee, send the hips back. Kind of working through the back of the leg here. And we can always walk our left foot up if we need to. Make sure you're pressing away from the hands. Beautiful. Giving a nice stretch to that glute. And then replace the foot. Melt down into a downward facing dog. Reach the heels down towards the mat and find a breath or two to reset. And then come down onto the knees, tabletop pose. Ground down through the left top of the foot. Use your core, send the right leg out to the side, extend. Bend the knee and back. You got this. Beautiful. And then extending the leg, planting the right foot down, and finding your nice twist. Getting a little bit of ease in between some of these movements. Returning back and coming into our pigeon. Sweeping the right leg behind. Settle in. Take your time. Find your space. And when you're ready, lifting the hands off. Inhale, reach them overhead. Exhale. Chest comes down. Really using the power of your hips to push you back up and not let you kind of slump over here. Keeping everything really nice and extended. Last one. Exhale, circle the hands around. Plant them on the mat and send the left leg up. Three-legged dog. Find your big, big hip circles. We want nice, happy hips. And doing exercises like these will actually help you in your daily activities. And finding your downward facing dog. Figure 4. Pressing through the ball of the foot, through the hands, sending the hips up as you bend the knee. Using that concentration. Last breath. And release. Downward facing dog. Pedal the backs of the legs out. Bending one knee and then the other. And coming back down onto the knees. But this time, finding a bound angle, pressing the soles of the feet together. Not taking the feet as close in as we can to the hips if you're pretty open. Keeping them a little distance apart. We're going to have some fun with this one. So really press your feet together. Take the hands behind the hips. And exhale, squeeze through the glutes, send the hips up, really pressing down through the feet. Drop the hips. And 3 of these. Beautiful. It's 2. 3. You know what? Let's go for 5. Let's go for gold. 2 more, we can do it. And release. Take the hands out in front of the hips, turn to the long edge of the mat, finding a nice straddle, flexing the feet, really root down through the sit bones, send the arms out in front of the shoulders, clasping, interlacing the hands, and we start to churn, making sure we're still grounding down, not letting the hips lift off. Taking about 5 rotations one way, and then we need to stir the butter the other way. So this always makes me think of like churning some cheese. Beautiful. Working through those hips. Last one. Release the hands, take the legs back together, finding a staff pose towards the front of the mat. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale, reach the hands forward. Inhale, pull them back. Leaning back using your core. Exhale, kind of like you're rowing a boat. Five more breaths. Beautiful. Meeting back in a neutral spine to plant the feet. Come up into a nice squat at the top of the mat. We need to take a moment to make sure our hips are a little bit open here. And it's okay if our heels are raised. We can still do these next moves with our heels raised, depending on our anatomy and our accessibility. Taking the hands above the head. And on your exhale, sweep the arms down as you lift the hips up, like you're chopping some firewood. We're on a farm today. Beautiful. 5 of these. And last one. Release the hands. We're still in our squat. But this time, you can take the fingertips to the mat. On your inhale, feet come forward and forward fold, or halfway lift. Exhale, toes out, sink down. And inhale, straighten. 5 of these as well. Last one, you're doing great. And straightening the legs back up. Kind of shake them out if you need to. Make sure you're at the top of the mat. Take your feet underneath the hips and steadily rise up into chair pose, reaching the arms up above the head. Sink low into the hips. Kind of pulse it here. 2 more breaths. Beautiful. Then standing up. Ground down through the right foot. Left knee comes in towards the chest. Exhale, carefully step it back into a high lunge. Then back up, high knee, and high lunge. 5. So that was 2. This is 3. Working through our stabilizer muscles as well. Trying to find your focus point to help you control your movements. And landing in our nice high lunge. Lifting up, turning to the long edge of the mat. Hands come to hips. Find your position here. And then arms come out, shoulder height. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Chest comes parallel to the ground. Then inhale, lift back up. Bend the right knee. Straighten the legs. Halfway forward fold. Coming always back up through this little star pose, bending the left knee. And fold. We'll take 3 side lunges on each side. You can also take the hands to the hips if we don't want the extra strength in the shoulders. Beautiful. 1 more each side. Ending with a nice little halfway forward fold. Hold here, extend the arms out, pulse it a little bit. Grip through the outer edges of the feet. Slightly bend the knees if you need to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raise up. And returning to the back of the mat, coming into through a little lunge, 2 step up. And lift the right knee. And carefully sweep it back. You're doing great. Inhale to lift. And exhale to step back. Do 1 more. I think this is my 5th. You guys know me and my counting. Releasing back into our low lunge, turning to the side, this time sinking into a nice goddess pose, toes point towards the corners of the mat. Hold here. Hands come to heart. Take a big deep breath in. Inhale. Exhale, twist carefully and smallly to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right. 3 of these each side. Only 2 more. Meeting back in center and finding some pulses. Pulse it out. Send the arms out in front of your shoulders. Pulse. Breathe. 5, 4, 3. You're almost done. 2, 1. And we come down onto the knees, straighten the legs. Might be a little jello feeling right now. Coming into a little thunderbolt pose. We're going to take a few rounds of a little kneeling cat-cow child pose flow. So take as many rounds as necessary to kind of help you start to slow down your breath, but don't force it to be any which way. Just notice it. Feel it. Feel invigorated. So on your inhale, lift up onto the knees, arms come high. Exhale, plant them in front, round through the back, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, child. Inhale, kneeling. Exhale, round. Inhale, cow. And exhale, child. Moving at your own pace. You can peek at me if you need to, but I encourage you to tune in to your body, your rhythms. Trying to make these movements as fluid as possible. Finding presence through your breath. And meeting back in child pose whenever you feel like it. But taking as many rounds as you need. Perhaps widening the knees when you reach your child pose, allowing a little tension release in the hips. Just coming back to the breath. Enjoying some stillness. And you are welcome to finish your practice in child pose. Or I invite you to find a seat and end with a little bit of an upper body release. So finding a seat that works for you, reaching the arms above the head, dropping the right to the side and reaching over with the left. Coming back up and dropping the left hand down. Finding an extra little cool down here. No need to rush off the mat. Preparing for a twist, taking a nice inhale. And exhale, taking any twist of your choosing. Reaching up through the crown of the head. Returning through center. And over to the left. Giving your internal organs a nice little massage. And taking anything else your body might need in this moment so that you can feel fully satisfied with this practice. Feeling open and present, aware, connected. And this is where our practice together today ends. So I thank you, my friend, for joining me today, helping your body find some strength and control and power. There's a big, beautiful hawk flying above. Wow. Wow, I wish you could see this. Thank you so much for joining me and taking care of yourself today. I look forward to the next time we meet, and I hope you have a great, great rest of your day.